This is the first shot. Let's run. Let's race. Go. Go.
Go, buddy, go.
Go, go, go.
It allows, you'll know who's got their mic on.
That is so cool. And my mic is on right now, but
Yes.
it is.
My mom finally moved in that. She's over the band. Yeah, I saw them. Yeah, my girls are over there having dinner. Yeah, exactly. Oh, nice. Very good. We're gonna actually try a new pizza spot.
All right, this seems so far. I guess it does pick up pretty easily. Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll start with an invocation led by Vice Mayor Smith, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Parker. Please rise as you're able.
Tonight we gather to start a new year. I pray that we use the knowledge of 2023 to improve the quality of life for Knoxville residents in 2024. Let us seek ways to use learnings from the past, hear new voices, and tackle new challenges. As the temperature of the season drops, we desire safe shelter for everyone who needs it, and we praise those who serve the most at-risk people in our community. Thank you for their tireless service. Guide us as we go into the new year. Amen.
Turn and face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would you please call roll?
Councilwoman Fugit.
Here.
Councilwoman Helsley.
Councilwoman Helsley? Here.
Councilwoman Parker.
here.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Councilman Roberto.
Here.
Councilwoman Singh.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith.
Here.
And Councilman Thomas. All members present, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have approval. We have two different meetings to go over and approve the minutes, and we'll do them one at a time. So first, is there a motion on the minutes from December 12th?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the minutes from our organizational meeting on December 16th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving along to item 5A. Are there any items to be withdrawn? Councilmember Thomas.
Yes, Mayor, at the request of the applicant, item 10A, 10B, and 10C, they've been requested to withdraw those items. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a motion to withdraw items 10A, B, and C. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of withdrawing items 10A, B, and C, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other items to be withdrawn? Okay. Are there any items to be postponed? Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Based on the applicant's request, I would like to make a motion to postpone item 10D for 2 weeks to our meeting on January 23rd.
Okay, motion to postpone till January 23rd. Item 10D has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other items to be postponed? Councilmember Roberto.
Thank you, Mayor. At the agreement of the parties involved, item 10E has been requested to be postponed for 2 weeks, so it would also put us at the January 23rd meeting. Mayor, so I'd like to make a motion to postpone for 2 weeks, item 10E.
Second.
Okay, motion to postpone item 10E has been made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other items to be postponed? Any other items requested to be added by motion? All right, how about a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, it's time for my mayor's report, and I first want to start by saying Happy New Year. I haven't seen most of you since we turned into 2024, and just wanted to say Happy New Year, and, you know, really excited about the year ahead and the 4 years ahead for some of us, so looking forward to that. I wanted to congratulate Vice Mayor Smith on becoming Vice Mayor, and thank Councilmember Roberto on your 2 years as Vice Mayor. Appreciate your efforts and looking forward to this transition as well. Also, welcome to Councilmember Helsley. This is your first full meeting, and we're glad to see you here as well. Council members, you all are probably very well aware that next Monday is the official federal holiday, Martin Luther King Day, and we in Knoxville don't just celebrate on King Day, we celebrate for the full week prior to that, and also have the Juneteenth celebrations where we have a parade associated with the King Day celebrations as well. So I want to invite you particularly to look at the website, mlkknoxville.com. That's a full list of all the events, so tell your constituents and friends and family members to check out mlkknoxville.com. And tomorrow is an event with the Interfaith Prayer Service. Will be at noon at Lennon Senny United Methodist Church. And then Thursday will be, it's now already sold out, which is good news, the Thomas Tank Strickland Leadership Awards and Luncheon at the UT Student Union. So that's just the two of many events that are educational and inspirational, and I encourage city council members and Knoxville community members to participate and enjoy these important celebrations. Later this week, we're also going to be welcoming our newest batch of firefighters to the city. This class of 28 will graduate at 6 p.m. in the Cox Auditorium on UT's campus. Everyone is welcome to attend, and we will also be streaming the ceremony live on the Knoxville Fire Department's Facebook page. So again, please join us Friday, 6 o'clock in the evening. That's always a special event that I always enjoy being part of. And finally, a quick reminder on our rules of decorum. Those who wish to speak either to a specific agenda item or during public forum should sign up with our city recorder, Mr. Johnson, ahead of time. Please do not use profanity, and when speaking to a specific agenda item, please remember to stay on topic. Those who fail to adhere to these rules may be ruled out of order and asked to step away from the podium. For those who are listening, please note, you may not disrupt a public meeting from the audience. Those who do may be asked to leave. Thank you in advance for respecting these rules. And that concludes my mayor's report. Are there any reports from council members or committees? All right, we'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Smith, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce two public meetings that City Council has coming up. On January 25th at 6:30 in this room, we'll have a public hearing related to emergency services and alternative response. And on February 15th, also in this room at 5 o'clock, we will host our first workshop of the year on housing. So 2 dates for the public to attend and learn more about those topics.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports from council? Okay, seeing, Vice Mayor Smith, you're done? Okay. All right, moving on to item 8A. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Parker.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, my eyesight's a little messed up.
I don't think my light's working, so I'm going to use that light.
Got it.
I just wanted to add on to the announcement about the public hearing, just that and I want to confirm with the vice mayor, can individuals in the public begin signing up for that public hearing now? I think they can, right?
Soon. I think Mr. Johnson will announce that Monday, probably. So at that point, members of the public can notify the city council office that they would like to speak.
Perfect. Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, moving on to item 8A.
8A is, excuse me, 8A is a resolution confirming the appointment of Louise Urea to serve as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second?
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8B is a resolution reappointing Lynn Fugit as City Council's representative on the City Pension Board.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Vice Mayor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Many of these next few items are very similar, and I just want to thank Councilman Fugit as well as my other colleagues who have stepped up to lead these committees or participate in them. Appreciate your willingness to serve, and I'm sure you'll lead very well.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on item 8B? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8C is a resolution appointing Councilmember Amelia Parker to serve on the Board of Directors of Community Television of Knoxville.
Second?
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8D is a resolution reappointing Councilmember Gwen McKenzie to serve as an ex officio member of the Board of Directors of the Knoxville Zoological Gardens, Incorporated.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8E is a resolution appointing Councilmember Gwen McKenzie as Chair of the City of Knoxville Public Property Naming Committee.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8F is a resolution reappointing Councilmember Seema Singh to serve as the Chair and a member of the Knoxville Golf Course Advisory Committee.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
8G is a resolution approving the appointment of the members of the City Council's Audit Committee.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9A is an ordinance to amend the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9B is an ordinance to close an unnamed street between Richmond Avenue and Joseph Schofield Street, located between the northwest and northeast corners of parcel 094HJ002, subject to one condition, and authorizing the mayor to execute quitclaim deeds to the adjacent property owners, Andrew Bird, applicant 3rd District.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
9C is an ordinance to change the street name of a portion of Pelham Road located between Rutledge Pike and the west terminus of Rock Point Drive to Rock Point Drive, City of Knoxville applicant 6th District.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9D is an ordinance to change the base zoning classification for property located at 4501 Lonis Drive from RN1 District to RN2 District. North Shore Construction Incorporated applicant 6th District.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9E is an ordinance to change the base zoning classification for property located at 2414 Robinson Road from AG District to RN1 District. Sergio Almandaro, applicant 3rd District.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9F is an ordinance to change the base zoning classification of property located at 1124, 1126, 1128, and 1130 Trigg Street from RN2 district to RN3 district, leaving all special purpose and overlay districts unchanged. Keith Foster, applicant, 6th district.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
9G is an ordinance to amend the zoning map to add the PD designation to 1834 Beach Street. David Cockrell, applicant, 1st district.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
11A is a resolution honoring the memory of Cameron Brooks and to express council's condolences to his family upon the occasion of his passing.
Motion made to approve and seconded. I believe that Mr. Knott, Cameron's husband, is here, and we are so grateful for your willingness to attend, and would like to give you the floor to speak a little bit about Cameron.
Thank you, Council, for this wonderful resolution, and especially Councilman Roberto for giving it legs and pushing me through to get it done. This resolution, the lovely comments that people have said, and anything I say within 5 minutes can't even begin to express the impact that Cameron's life had on the Knoxville community and beyond. I'm sure many people here have stories about their adventures with Cameron Brooks, and some of which should not be told on public record. So I'll just leave it at that. I wanted to also express my thanks to my family and friends, some who are on council who have helped us through this very brief yet difficult struggle called lymphoma. And I've met a lot of people in his political circles and whatnot that I didn't know very well, but they were there immediately whenever I needed them to be there to help out the guy that helped out so many people. I especially wanted to thank his brother, and now mine, Aaron, who came down so many times at the last minute from Bristol, a quick trip when I was needing his help immediately. He was always there for me. And finally, I just want to thank Cameron for picking me to be his best friend, his soulmate, his co-parent, and his husband. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Roberto.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a tough resolution, I think, because Cameron was taken away from us way too soon. He was only 45 years old. His celebration of life was really beautiful. It was attended by so many friends. And I think that we probably set a record for the most number of people assembled in Knoxville who were wearing Raiders gear at any one time. Cameron had almost a 30-year record of being active in our local politics. He loved politics. Wes just mentioned adventures with Cameron, and just by coincidence, on my social media, it popped up a memory today, and it was today, 9 years ago, that my brother Cameron and I drove in the motorcade with President Obama. And it's a strange occurrence that that's today. But that was such an amazing moment. And I remember him and I talking about that for years thereafter. Cameron is known as an advocate for a living wage and for campus workers. He served 2 years as the Knox County Democratic Party chair, 3 terms as a Knox County election commissioner. And I really feel like Cameron loved politics because he loved people, and he wanted to do all the good he could do for all the people he could. And I think that our community is a better place because of Cameron Brooks, and he will be missed. And just want to say thank you to his friends and family who are here tonight and just express my condolences for the loss of our friend and your family member. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McKenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to echo Councilmember Roberto's comments. Cameron never met a stranger. His personality, his spirit was just so fun and warm and inviting to any and everyone that he met. I'm sure there's several of us that are sitting around this podium today that Cameron was an advisor to at some point, professionally and personally. I loved his spirit and I loved his zeal for helping other people and for being politically active and wanting to always do the right thing for the right reason. And so, Wes, I just want to say to you and to Cameron's family and friends who are in the audience that he was loved greatly in this city and he's truly missed, but he will never be forgotten. So thank you all so very much for sharing him with us. God bless you.
Thank you. Councilmember Thomas and then Councilmember Helsley.
Yes, I didn't know Cameron very well, but I knew of him mainly for his long, unfailing support of low-income wage earners, many without benefits. I was getting to know him better. I was looking forward to him in whatever capacity continuing to work for those causes he believed in, and he will be missed.
Thank you. Councilmember Helsley.
Yes, I've knew Cameron for well over 20 years, going back to a living wage campaign when, and then when he decided, or they decided to form the campus workers, then they came to CWA, which I was local president at the time, that they wanted to affiliate with CWA. And I knew from that point he was going to fight for organized labor and do amazing things in Knoxville and beyond. Knoxville and organized labor is better off for his service. His life was too short. But I think he leaves a legacy many of us are inspired by, and he leaves an unfinished light that many of us here will do our best to keep it up.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith.
There's not a lot to add other than the sweet friendship that I built with Cameron was, funny enough, arguing well. He and I, those that know me and I think know Cameron, we both loved a good debate and kept each other sharper, I think. And so he would often tell me, my goal is to keep you from being lazy or soft or too mild. So he was passionate about the things he cared about. He wasn't afraid to speak up for those things. And he did the very hard thing that is very hard to do now, which is to maintain friendship through a lot of reoccurring disagreement and just enjoy. And that's so very, very, very hard. And there's nobody I enjoyed calling to debate with out of the blue than Cameron, and he's just a sweet spirit that I got a little bit of time with. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing him with us.
Any other council members? Councilmember Helsley, your light's still on. Okay, that's okay. Well, just I wanted to add to Wes and to Cameron's family. He was a real gift to the Knoxville community. We are all shocked and deeply saddened by his death, and he will be remembered. And I'm very grateful for everyone for putting together this resolution. It's one small way we can honor his life. Seeing no further comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. I think that's unanimous. The motion carries. And Councilmember Roberto, if you could please deliver the copy of it to Wes and the family, please. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, if you could please go on with item 11B.
11B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Lee Company for replacement and repairs to the chiller unit at the Knoxville Convention Center in the amount not to exceed $136,228.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11C is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an easement agreement to allow existing features of the South Banks Apartments at 820 Waterfront Drive to encroach into the public rights of way.
Is there a motion? Is there someone who wants to make? Motion made to approve and seconded. Vice Mayor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to ask if someone's here from the applicant or the developer. Is someone here to speak on this item?
Is someone here who is the property owner of Waterfront, South Banks Apartments at 820 Waterfront Drive? Okay, if you could come to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Sean Chalmers, Dominion Development Group.
I have some questions to lead us off, if that's okay. Mr. Chalmers, can you provide a summary of kind of how this happened? This is not very usual for us to review. Can you tell us a little bit how this unfolded?
Yeah, we obviously, like a lot of you are familiar with our project, and that portion of the project involved some city right-of-way work around that project to happen later. Our buildings are pretty close to the property line, and this came to our knowledge after the city work started, where the sidewalks came in. In essence, there were some footers of our building that extended a couple inches to about 4 feet into the sidewalk area, so just underneath the sidewalk on one building. As we dug into the reasons behind it, our contractor and our design team and the surveying, there was some miscommunication on where those lines needed to be. And so what we've done is talk with them and implemented some new procedures and expectations from our end to make sure that that doesn't happen again. You know, we didn't like that this happened, and we worked with Tom and his team to resolve this as soon as we could once we figured it out.
So I'm clear, the surveyor got it wrong on the front end, right? It wasn't that the construction company ignored the survey. Is that right?
I believe it was a phased survey miss. So when they first put the corners of the building, and I think
Right.
part of it is the road was not exactly straight lines, where when they went back, they didn't realize that the underground portion of the footer would be underneath that line, if that makes sense. So they needed to come back and survey it again.
Okay. Thank you. I have some questions for Mr. Clabo, if that's okay. There's 3 sections included in this encroachment. Other than generally overstepping the property boundaries, am I right that the main thing the city misses out on here is space for landscaping, trees and shrubs?
That's correct.
Okay. We recently approved an easement for a right-of-way on Sutherland and our fence, for a fence, I think, and on Gay Street for an awning. But these types of mistakes are usually remodels. Is that correct? We don't usually see this type of mistake on a new construction development. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I don't intend to support this, mostly because from an equity standpoint. I realize the cost of reconstructing this, but it is possible, as I understand it. But I also realize the importance of equitable enforcement. We must treat small projects like residential backyard decks and sheds the same as large construction apartments. And so there's been a lot of small projects I'm aware of that someone either had to rebuild or move as a result of something like this. I do think the developer can reconstruct it, and I think it's a substantial miss. So it's not as if the buildings have to come down, but I do think these elements, as I understand it, are stairs and entryways, particularly pavement for ramps. So as a result of that, I don't think that this is a must. I don't think the public misses out on something by reconstructing this. And I do think that they miss out on the property space that was supposed to be city right-of-way. If it was smaller or negligible, I wouldn't be against this, but I won't be able to support this encroachment because I think the trade-off for accountability is missing, as well as I think there are much smaller properties and residential owners who have to move things or reconstruct things. And I don't think this is a deal breaker for the apartment. So I won't be able to support this, but I'll pause now and let any of my other colleagues have questions.
Any, Councilmember Ryder?
Mr. Claybo, there weren't a lot of visuals in our packet to help understand exactly what we're looking at here. There's 3 different spots that are requiring some footage because they're encroaching on the right-of-way. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is it all footers? Is it all steps coming out of the structures? And is it 3 different buildings or is it 1 building?
From my understanding, it's one building. It involves an accessible ramp into the building, some stairs and cheek walls of the stairs. But it also is a portion of I think the building, you might be able to speak to this better than me, Sean, but some of the footing of the building, but also a little bit of the building itself is within the right of way.
So the actual building is in the right-of-way?
I don't believe that is accurate. I think it's just underground. It's the footers underneath and a step connecting to the sidewalk.
Okay, so Mr. Claybo, when this was discovered, was there a conversation from engineering about you need to turn it, you need to tear the accessible ramp out? Like, what were the conversations?
We had adjacent public improvements with the waterfront drive, so we were placing a curb and a sidewalk.
Okay.
So when we were out there surveying for that, we realized that these areas were encroaching in the right of way. So at that point, we let Dominion know that.
Oh, so you let them know, it's not they let you know?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't quite understand that from what Mr. Chalmers said. I thought it was some of the follow-up work. Okay. Okay. In your career with the city, how long have you been with the city?
32 years.
And I know a lot of it's been with traffic, but
Right.
is this pretty unusual?
It is for new construction, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what to say because it's just an interesting thing. So what we're voting on is easements to allow these encroachments to stay. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There's no money involved.
No,
They're not paying the city for the easements they get.
no.
Okay, let me throw this out. KUB approached me for an easement for, to be able to anchor a pole, and they offered me money for it, for that easement. So how come there's no money involved in the easement?
We've just historically, when we've encountered these issues, there's not been any funds involved.
Okay. I'll see if any of my colleagues have any. Mr. Chalmers, have you looked at how to rebuild and tear out to not need the easement?
It would be very difficult to rebuild this because it deals with the structure of the building underground. And so I don't have an answer right now of how we would cut that and
I guess my question is, let me just cut you off and say, I'm not asking you how much, because I'm going to guess it's a lot, but I'm just like, what's the actual feasibility of moving a corner of a building?
I would say it's very infeasible at this point to do it and have the building be structurally sound.
Mr. Claybo, I have a question, or maybe this is for the law director. This resolution authorizes me to execute an easement agreement. That easement agreement, if this is approved, is yet to be drafted, right? I mean,
Yes.
So could it contain monetary value to pay for the city for an easement, or is that? I know we're paying for rights of way and easements. So, I just want to help council to understand what we normally do in those types of situations versus what's happening now?
I know of nothing in the law that would prohibit some rental fee or charge associated with the obtaining of an easement. We have not historically done that in the past.
Councilmember Thomas?
Still thinking about this. I wasn't expecting it really to be controversial, but now I see that it is. I guess one thing that concerns me is us setting some kind of a precedent. I mean, it's regrettable that the builder made a mistake here. And we always like to try to help out those some, but for the city not to be compensated in any way for either for providing something that is of benefit to the developer. I guess I'm a little reluctant just to let the developer make a mistake and then not have any benefit accrued to the city. And it just kind of sets a precedent. You know, if you mess up, we will just kind of let you go without any kind of repercussions. So I guess I'm trying to struggle in whether or not we should not allow the easement or allow the easement, but require some kind of monetary benefit to the city for giving it up. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking of right now.
Councilmember Fugit?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm trying to get a handle on this. So the building is built.
Mm-hmm.
The footer is underground.
Correct.
And the footer underground is encroaching on an easement that goes all the way to the bottom of the earth.
That's correct.
Okay. That's one thing. The stairs and the other stuff, I would assume they might be able to be more easily remedied than the corner of a footer in a building that's already built.
Theoretically, yes. Yeah.
Theoretically, yes. But one thing's above ground. A couple of things are above ground. The other is not,
Mm-hmm.
and would render some structural impediments. So one question for my colleagues is, can you divide the question? You know, I mean, there's, I understand the concerns. I also understand the money thing, but you didn't do this on purpose. There was a survey mistake that then led to other things. So it doesn't look to me like you were trying to take advantage of the city and build where you knew you could not build. That to me is different than somebody who intentionally encroached. So I'm struggling with this because I have great empathy for the situation you find yourself in. And I don't know how you make somebody dig up the footer for a building that's already built.
Sure.
But I also know stairs and stuff can be rebuilt, and that is expensive, but not as expensive as a corner of the building. So that's kind of my thought about this. Is there a way that you know, and maybe we can't decide this today, I don't know, because I don't know what you're agreeable to, and negotiating on the fly in a public meeting is not usually the way it's done. But you know, my first thought, because I always look for compromise, is there a way to grant an easement for what cannot be changed and discuss more, can there be something done to remedy the other issues?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, from a principal standpoint, this is new for us too. And I think one of the factors that led to this is the sidewalk and the edge of the road was not in place. And so that was part of the mistake, was in a typical scenario, those elements would be there. So it'd give them some sort of a gauge. Obviously, it should have been done right. I will say to Councilwoman Ryder's proposal about the easement, that is pretty common in our world as well, where if there's a use for somebody's land for an easement, it's not uncommon for there to be some compensation for that. That had not been discussed or asked of us, but we would be open as far as making it a simple thing. And I think, you know, from the city's standpoint, that makes a lot of sense. If the city's going to give some land to a property owner, that there be some compensation for that, that there's an industry standard behind that. Our question would be, who would we discuss that with?
Council members, just a thought as these new questions come to light. This could be an item that you decide to postpone, so my
That's exactly where
law
I was
team
going.
I mean, we have some good questions here that, you know, might be easier to answer and then bring back to you with a solution
So
that reflects that discussion.
I'm going to make a motion that we postpone this for 4 weeks. If you come back sooner, that's fine, but I think 4 weeks still allows some time to negotiate and see what something can be worked out.
Second.
Motion made to postpone this item by 4 weeks. It's been made and seconded. A lot of people's lights are still on. Do you want to talk about this motion to postpone? I don't know who was next. Council Member Parker, and then we'll go to the side. Go ahead, Ms. Parker.
I can speak to the motion to postpone. I'm not necessarily opposed to postponing, but I am in agreement with Vice Mayor Smith that we have had to make some really tough decisions that have come before us and I've been very frustrated and argued and pushed back on us having to make those decisions when, someone appeals a BZA decision and needs a variance to maintain some piece of, some building on their property. And it didn't meet the requirements for us to grant that appeal. And so they've had to tear buildings down. And I imagine that type of expense to an individual is comparable to the level of expense that you're potentially facing with this building. We have some tough decisions that come before us, and I do believe that we have to hold the same standard for residents in our community as we do commercial activities. Even though that price tag might be shocking to us, that price tag for that individual resident is also shocking when they have to deal with items on their property. So I'm not opposed to postponing. But I'm not sure if there is a negotiated deal here without the public and that neighborhood losing in this situation. So I'm very, very hesitant for this to move forward, and the neighborhood has expressed that they're opposed to Dominion even being able to purchase this property. So that should be, a part considered as conversations move forward, what the neighborhood hopes to get out of this as well. Thank you.
Council Member McKenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also in agreement with a postponement. I think the circumstances would be different if it were all on the developer as it relates to the survey, and that there was a mistake or misjudgment in the survey that brought you here. Is that correct? Today. Because of that fact, I do feel like I'd like to see some of the questions answered that have been brought up today, as well as to see if there could be something that could be brought back to council as it relates to a negotiation, potentially a monetary, because according to what's in our packet, they're asking for a lease of this encroachment for what, 15, 20 years? Or did I read that incorrectly? Is there something in there?
Forever.
Forever.
Oh, forever. Oh, forever, ever. I was reading something different
A
then.
little longer than 15 years.
Yeah, yeah, a lot longer than 15 years. So I would like to see what comes back for our consideration as it relates to that. And I don't disagree with Councilwoman Parker either that this was controversial. when it first came to us as it relates to this property and the purchase of it. So, but I would like to have our colleagues maybe consider whatever negotiations could be brought back to us to vote on. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Roberto?
Thank you, Mayor. With regard to the postponement, if the item is postponed, I would request, and I think Councilmember Ryder mentioned this, there's really not a lot of detail in this item, and there's no pictures, so it's a lot harder for us to, without, driving down and checking out the property, it'll be a lot harder for us to understand. I'm not opposed to doing that, but it would be nice if this is postponed to have a little bit more detail in there, especially some pictures. My understanding from what you've described today is that one of the most difficult pieces of this for you to correct would be the footer, and that's underground and is not seen by somebody passing by. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then there's two other ones. One's a staircase, and is that correct?
I believe it's a portion of a step.
Portion of a step?
Yeah.
And then after that, what's the rest of it?
I believe that's it. And I'm sorry if you didn't get all the information. We were under the impression that information had been gathered as far as
Well, it's not that there's not
pictures.
information in there. There's no pictures. I mean,
Well,
there's
that's-
one picture
yes.
in here, and
If I may.
I'm not so sure that anyway.
There's supposed to be some profiles, and I'm sorry that's missing.
That's okay. So there's a portion of the only thing that a walker by would notice is a portion of a step. Is that right?
Yes, it just extends into the sidewalk area. So honestly, a walker by wouldn't even perceive that there's anything
Okay.
there.
And then my final question is just, obviously, there's a mistake, and you're telling us that the survey had an error in it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there not insurance that deals with those mistakes? Is somebody not insured to deal with this, and if they made an error, that there's insurance to address any issues with repairs or addressing this issue?
We would go down that path with our builder and consultants to pursue that. That would be a more painful path.
But there is insurance to address this. It's just you haven't gone through that process.
Yes, all the people we work with are insured.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Clabo, if I could just ask a point of information. If this is postponed, does that delay in any way our infrastructure improvements? Does this encroachment impede our ability to build the sidewalks that we're already moving forward on?
No, it doesn't.
And so postponing this item won't slow that project down at
No.
all? Okay. Councilmember Helsley?
I would like to have a clue. If we postpone, what are we asking for? I mean, what do we hope to accomplish with a postponement? I mean, I think it comes to an equity issue again. There are people in that area that have had to remove structures because they put them, and these are just homeowners who don't have a lot of money. And I can't verify this, but I was also told somebody was made to move a chicken coop that was on their own property in that neighborhood. So it just seems like there's different rules for different people. So it would be nice to kind of know where we were going with that.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith? Or I guess Councilmember
I think that
Fuqua?
question was directed at me, since I'm the one asking for the postponement. What I'm hoping to, that's not a criticism, I'm just saying I'm the person, I asked for the postponement. So what I'm hoping to accomplish. I seconded it. Keep going. Thank you. So what I'm hoping to accomplish is there something that can work rather than all or nothing? Because I do understand the issue of equity, but I also understand if one of the things you're gauging off of to do the survey isn't there, you can make a mistake. And here we are, process is down. And as Mr. Roberto said, there's insurance. But I too would like to see pictures and actually really understand what this is. And if there's an offer of compensation, that then we can build more green someplace else. I mean, I just think these are questions that I would like to think we may have vetted before we decide all or nothing. That's what I'm hoping to accomplish. Then you can still vote against it, but I would like some more information.
Councilmember Ryder?
Yeah, Mr. Chalmers, would reconstruction limit the ability to occupy the units? That's part one of a question. Part two of a question, are these rented or owned properties?
They're rented and they're currently occupied.
Okay, so we got a rental unit with a tenant in it. You'd have to tear out a footer, redesign their step, and I do have an architectural drawing. I'm sorry, when I pick this up, it moves. It's just a little hard for maybe the layperson. I mean, maybe I'm not your average bear, but I still can't tell exactly what I'm looking at. I can tell that there's 3 easement sites in this drawing, and I can't tell exactly how far apart they are from each other, but they look pretty close. And some of them are pretty small. So one's a ramp, and one's a footer, and one's some steps. Is that right?
That's correct.
No corner of a building.
That's my understanding.
Okay, so when you tear out the footer is for the steps, not for the building?
Some of the footers are for the building.
Some of the footers for the building. Huh, shoot and a miss. Okay, anyway, okay. So could someone still stay? You got a tenant in there, would they have to vacate to?
I don't know the answer to that right at this moment.
Okay. That'd be a question that I'd like answered in the next 4 weeks. And the other thing I'd say is, there are appraisals, Mr. Clabo and Mr. Swanson and Mr. Frost. It's my understanding that right-of-ways and other such things are given appraisals, and those things can be appraised. Correct? And
That's correct, yes.
my guess is that's not going to happen in a 4-week time frame. So to the point of the postponement, what can happen in a 4-week turnaround time?
I mean, we could start looking at it. I can't guarantee
Okay,
with.
all right. Well, we can start with a 4-week postponement, can't we? Yes. And I think I'm sure it's unfair to some people that have had to move things like a chicken coop or a garage. In the instance of 4th District, we've had that happen where someone built a garage on KBUB's land. But no one was living in those. Those were not occupied. So I just think that's a factor. I just think we have a lot of factors here that aren't known at this moment. And I'd like more information before we vote yay or nay. Because we have constituents that are saying, don't vote for this. Don't give you free land. You put your footer in the city's property. You built it on your neighbor's property. And if I built on my neighbor's property, I'd probably have to. And I've got one in my district right now. And they, I think, built pretty darn close to the right-of-way. And so willfully without permits. So we'll see what's going to happen there. So we might have more fun with that. So that's all. I see where my colleagues are saying equitable. So I'll be supporting the postponement. Why I second it, because I think we need a better solution than you get an easement into the public right away with your steps, your whatever. And then last question, is there some landscaping that didn't happen because of this, or?
So as part of the public improvements, we constructed a curb and sidewalk, and there was intended to be a 5-foot landscaped area. So in order to accommodate these.
A buffer strip?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we had to end up moving the sidewalk closer to the street and reduce that strip to 2 feet instead of 5.
Mr. Clabo, did we have to spend some money and time on design to move the
I
sidewalk?
mean, it's.
Negligible?
Yeah, for
Okay,
construction.
okay. All right, I'll turn.
Council, I'll just say that I think, given what Mr. Clabo said, like some big engineering changes or proposals from on a construction angle are not possible in 4 weeks, but I can ask our law director to help us evaluate what other options are available to move forward that would make the most sense for the community. So that's something we can definitely do in 4 weeks.
May I make a simple proposal?
Well, why not? Well, I mean, you can, but I mean, we sort of,
It was brought up about our purchase of the property. If we did what we paid per acre for the amount of land that we're acquiring here, and start that as a proposal. It was brought up about how long a true appraisal would take, but we could start with what we paid for the land on a per acre basis, apply that to the amount of land here and submit that for the city's consideration.
okay, thank you. Yes, that's the kind of thing that our law department can help evaluate if this postponement is approved. Councilmember Thomas.
Yeah, we heard the example of the chicken coop, and in my district, it's been a swimming pool. And a few years ago, there was a neighbor who relied on the advice of the builder of the swimming pool about where it could be located. And then after it was completely done, the city was alerted, and he actually had to move the swimming pool to fit the proper location. I don't know what his repercussions or what kind of ability he was to regain from the person who gave him that bad advice. You're in a bit of a similar situation, and I don't for a minute think you did it on purpose. Accidents happen, just like the chicken coop and the swimming pool. But I guess what I'm getting at is this is a lot more complicated than I think most of us imagined, and I think we do need this postponement just to sort all this out and see if we can find the best solution. So I'll, of course, be voting for the postponement.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. I just got pictures of the situation a few hours ago, so allow me to try to paint a picture briefly. And I actually think the best thing to do would be to reset and to withdraw this, actually, because a postponement doesn't change the structure of this. It just kicks it down the road for 4 weeks. And while it does give some time for negotiations or ideation, there's no reason to push this forward if it's going to change structurally, which I think it should. There is one building, and there are 3 parts. One is the corner of a building, which I agree is very substantial. And by the way, how many buildings have you all built in the past couple years in Knoxville?
A good number of buildings.
Give me a ballpark, Sean. Work with me.
30 buildings.
30 buildings. So have you ever had this happen in those 30 buildings?
We have not had another situation like this, no.
No, okay. I'm trying to compliment you. My point is, this is not intentional. This is not nefarious. It's just, as you mentioned, the surveyor got it wrong a few times. And so I'm not necessarily worried about the precedent we set for Dominion, because I think you've got a good record of following the rules. I'm more worried, as Councilmember Thomas mentioned, about setting the precedent for other developments where, sorry, it's built, we can't do anything about it. I do agree that the corner of the building is substantial and does require probably a little bit more thought about potentially purchasing that corner amount of the building. The other 2 areas in a picture are like a step. So it can be reconstructed pretty easily. The appraiser does have insurance. This is not a game changer amount of money to change the step. The third piece is the entranceway, a door, not necessarily to a specific apartment, but to the building itself. It's an ADA ramp. There's a portion of it, I'm going to go with a half or a third, based on the picture that I saw, that is too wide and would need to be reconstructed. That too seems feasible and not a game changer, and don't have to kick anybody out or tear the building down. So there are 3 distinct things, which is, again, why I think that withdrawing this actually allows everybody to start over. And I do think that a good middle ground would be to ask the developer to repair those 2 smaller negligible things, allows the city to reclaim its proper rights. And for the more substantial one, I think the withdrawal gives you time to work with the city to determine a cost to keep that building without tearing it down. I think there are 8 buildings, is that right, on this property?
Yes.
So we just missed a few parts of one building. I think that's the right approach for this. And I don't think necessarily a postponement is a good idea, but it doesn't change the structure. And given the breakdown of the three pieces that I just outlined, if you have the pictures, which again, withdrawing this and starting over allows everybody to see the same thing that I saw today, and I think allows you to break this up. I don't think there's any reason why these three items need to be joined at the hip, and I don't think it's, given the size of the development and the collaboration with the city thus far, I don't think it's too substantial to ask for those two somewhat minor reconstruction and allow for negotiation on the third one. So that's the only reason I don't think the postponement does much to solve this, because we're going to be back with the same words in 4 weeks.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to postpone for 4 weeks. Councilmember Fugit.
Thank you. I understand where you're going, Councilman Smith, or Vice Mayor Smith, but the point of the postponement was we've just done what I didn't want us to do, which is try to negotiate and offer solutions on the fly, and we don't know if they're okay with withdrawing, and that's why I just did a postponement. Somebody can rewrite what they want, they can withdraw it and submit something different, but at least this keeps us on our agenda. I will not be heartbroken if you vote down my postponement. I will still speak to you, but, you know, then we're going to have to do something else, so.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion we're voting on is to postpone for 4 weeks this item. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of, Councilmember McKenzie.
Question for the law director. If we postpone this item, would the applicant have the ability, if this whole thing needs to be rewritten, would that be admissible? Or would the withdrawal of this item allow them the latitude to be able to submit something totally different? I just don't know how much latitude they'll have with a postponement versus a withdrawal.
I think a postponement allows us to explore the entire situation, determine what seems to make sense with regard to these situations, and then come back to you with our best proposed advice with regard to what that would be, how it would work. So.
All right, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other lights on, all those in favor of this postponement, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries 8-1. All right, moving along.
11D is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a cost reimbursement agreement with Rock Point Development LLC for the addition of sidewalks, drainage improvements, and to realign Pelham Road for an amount not to exceed $720,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11E is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Design and Construction Services Incorporated for the 2024 Curb Cuts project in an amount not to exceed $654,860.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council members, I just wanted to say that the Curb Cuts program that we fund and you all approve every year is a big part of helping to make Knoxville a welcoming and accessible city for everyone. This summer, someone asked me, you know, Mayor, why does the city spend so much money on curb cuts? I never see anybody on wheelchairs, you know, on those streets. And it's like, because, you know, the answer was because the curb cuts aren't there yet. And like at one point in most everybody's life, there's going to be mobility impairments due to age or health issues or a temporary injury or whatever. So I'm really pleased that the city continues to support this, and this is just one more year and effort to continue to do that. And we try to do it during the same time we're repaving, so it minimizes the disruption to the community. Any other questions or comments? Seeing Councilmember Thomas?
There we go. Yes, Mayor, I would just echo that, and quickly, as someone who bicycles a lot and has for years, I can't minimize the importance of curb cuts as far as safety goes. You know, the public really thinks maybe, you know, it's not that big of a deal, these curb cuts, but you're out there on the bikes and in wheelchairs, it really is so. And the Vision Zero that's starting to get some traction and show some promise, this is part and parcel of that. So I'll be supporting it, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further lights on, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11F is a resolution. 11F is a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with APAC Atlantic Incorporated for the Third Creek Greenway Resurfacing Phase 1 project, increasing the contract amount by $52,894.48 for a new contract total of $384,818.23, and extending the date of completion to January 31, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11G is a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Henley Roofing Company for the Dr. E.V. Davidson Community Center re-roof and HVAC upgrades project, increasing the contract amount by $20,000 for a new contract total of $733,300.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Council, these continue our investments at the E.V. Davidson Community Center in the heart of East Knoxville. I know that our Parks and Rec team, along with the many families who rely on the center, will be really happy to see these maintenance issues being addressed. And just wanted to note that once these upgrades are complete, our Office of Sustainability will be using grant funds to add solar panels on the roof, making it the second community center in the city with solar panels. So I appreciate your support for this. Seeing no lights on, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11H is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with Knox County to accept $23,365 as a subrecipient of a Homeland Security grant in order to purchase radio headset accessories and positive pressure ventilators for the Knoxville Fire Department.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
11I is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Community Solutions Collaborative LLC to develop an assessment of a furthering fair housing equity plan as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in an amount not to exceed $37,600.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11J is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and, if awarded, accept a grant donation up to $40,000 from the Tennessee River Line with a $40,000 match to help offset costs of installation of an accessible kayak launch at Holston River Park.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11K is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the piggyback agreement with Avero LLC to provide additional enterprise resource planning consulting services to the Knoxville Police Department and plans review and inspections in an amount not to exceed $336,100, with the option to purchase additional services at a cost of $169,500 for a total potential contract increase of $505,600.
Motion made to approve
Second.
and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
11L is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept the Appalachia High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Grant in the amount of $115,500 with no required matching funds from the U.S. Department of Justice Drug Enforcement Administration as part of the multi-jurisdictional law enforcement agency efforts in combating narcotics crimes to be used to fund officer overtime pay.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11M is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to coordinate Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigator travel for training pursuant to a grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Programs in an amount not to exceed $60,000, with an option to extend the agreement for up to 2 additional one-year periods upon written agreement by the parties.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11N is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a subrecipient agreement with the City of Maryville on behalf of the Maryville Police Department to award an amount not to exceed $25,000 pursuant to a grant from the Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Programs under the terms of the Violent Crime Intervention Fund collaboration to be used to fund upgrades to their training center, including the purchase of equipment as part of their violent crime intervention strategies.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Councilmember Ryder.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask the chief, are there partnerships that we do with them in regards to violent crime?
This is part of those grants that we've been approving with the different agencies. The state of Tennessee had a grant that we applied for, but part of that grant, we had to partner with local law enforcement agencies. So these are, one of the agencies that we partner with. Okay. And this is one of the, I think maybe the 5th time that we passed $25,000 to different agencies to build certain things to reduce violent crime. And this is another one of those.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11O is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding with Knox County to accept $27,500 as a subrecipient of the 2022 Homeland Security Grant in order to purchase safety equipment for use by the Knoxville Police Department.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
11P is a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept the USAO Eastern Tennessee Project Safe Neighborhoods Grant from the Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Programs in the amount of $48,015 with no required local match to be used in reducing gun crimes and gang activities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
12A is an ordinance to amend the Knoxville City Code, Chapter 22.5, Article 2, to implement an updated permit fee structure.
Move to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Council members, we have one person signed up for public forum, Tom Ruggles. If you'd come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you will have up to 5 minutes to address council.
Hi, my name's Tom Ruggles. I live in Knoxville, District 2. I hate to bring old business before the council at the first meeting of the new year, but my apologies, I couldn't be here for the past couple meetings. So I have a couple comments to make on some of the conduct of this council that happened on November the 28th. And this was, of course, the day where Ms. Parker put forth her resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. It was also a day that was very shameful for this council because there were a number of people whose voices were silenced. On that day, there were 30 individuals who were signed up to speak at the public forum. And as you all know, due to the council's somewhat idiotic rules, only 6 people are able to speak unless you all choose to amend the rules, which in my experience is done almost every single time there are more than 6 people signed up to speak at the forum. And so I just wanted to bring up to this council again how it is a disservice to the citizens of Knoxville for you not to allow them to speak. In this case, it was about 25 people who were not allowed to speak their mind on what obviously was a very contentious issue because the floor here was filled to the brim. And so, you know, I myself being one of those people who are not allowed to speak, but I'm more concerned about the copious members of the Palestinian and Muslim community who were here that day and who had wished to speak on the issue. And so I feel like me personally, as well as them, probably all felt that you all did not wish to hear our voices on that day, and I find that to be an unacceptable conduct of this council. And so I hope in 2024 we can refrain from not allowing people to speak. You know, this is something that happens once every 2 weeks where the constituents of Knoxville are able to come and pour their hearts out to you and give you their ideas and their opinions. And so I just hope that we can be allowed to speak moving forward. And so I guess I'll leave it there. You know, I had a lot of other things to say about how I felt this council disregarded Ms. Parker's resolution and what that has to say about the moral conscience of this body, but we'll save that for another day. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members, that concludes public forum, and without objection, this meeting is adjourned.
Just good. One say. You're welcome.
Muted Elvin.